Hello, and welcome back to Be Moved. Today I'm going to share with you a Yin Yoga practice. And before we begin, I'd really like to invite you to find a blanket or something soft that you can place beneath you on top of your mat, as during our practice will be mostly on the ground, working through asanas on the floor, so it's really comforting to have something beneath you. And also props are really invited into yin, so if you do have a yoga block, yoga bolsters, cushions, pillows, anything that you have around, just start to gather them in. And we really use the props to support our body as we spend a little bit longer in each of the asanas. Usually about 2 to 5 minutes. So we can imagine these yoga shapes becoming these mini meditations in their own right. And today I want to share with you a practice that is inspired by the element of water. The school of Yin Yoga, in which I've studied, works with the 5 elements of Chinese medicine. So today we're going to be focusing on the seed, the beginning, which is water. It's also fitting because it's a new moon right now while I'm filming. And for me, yin, for many years, has been a place of refuge, a refuge within. It's a practice that helps to renew my energy when I feel exhausted. And it's a practice that gives me time and space to listen. Sometimes we have to become really still or really quiet, and then suddenly we can listen to what's here, what's speaking to us. So I would love to begin the practice seated. I like to be on my knees. You might decide to sit in Sukhasana with your legs crossed. I'm going to place something beneath my legs to make me more comfortable. And you might decide to light a candle to begin your practice, to burn some incense or some herbs, and really start to allow your space wherever you are to become a really sacred space for your practice. And we're going to begin seated and allow each part of your body to find a little release. Shoulders can roll back, you can shake out your hands, soften your head from side to side. A few breaths through your mouth. Maybe there's even a sigh, a hum of arrival. And see if you can really drop your weight towards the back of your body. Notice how your pelvis and the bones of your legs start to find earth a little bit more. And if it feels comfortable for you, you can soften your eyes. And just notice your natural breath. How your breath comes and goes and flows. And I would love to begin this practice with a central channel breath. So as I just touched on the practice of Yin Yoga, I often feel like a refuge, a cocoon-like practice. And to help me with this, I find breathing through the most central part of my body a way to really start to bring everything in, especially in many of our lives where we're often spilling out into other places, connecting to other elements and screens and people and things. And so we're going to start to draw yourself back. So we'll begin by bringing all of our attention to the crown of our head. If it feels comfortable, you can place your hand here. And we'll start to find a breath, breathing in from the crown of our head, and allowing that breath to pour down through our brain, down the back of our throat, through our chest, into our whole digestive system, down through our pelvis, and then as we exhale, the breath comes from the bowl of your pelvis all the way back up, through belly, chest, throat, out through the crown of our head. So it's a breath pattern that might feel a little bit different as we're breathing in and down and exhaling up and out. And we can use our hands as mirrors of our breath. So releasing our hands into space, and as we inhale, bringing your hands all the way down towards your pelvis. And as you exhale, releasing your hands all the way back up to the crown of your head. And finding your own rhythm. Your hands are tracing your breath as it falls through your body. And take a couple more rounds, bringing everything in. Allow allowing your breath to irrigate, to flow, to cleanse. This whole central channel of your body. Notice how it feels to be very sensitized to your breath. So that your breath really floods your whole body. And we'll very slowly start to transition into our first yin shape. We're going to come into a butterfly. So if you do have blocks, also a big heavy book works, and feel free to bring them to your practice. And you bring the soles of your feet together. And there's many options. So I want you to take your time and see what feels right today. We can start to walk our feet further away from our body to give ourselves more space. Our blocks can be either used to support our knees, especially if our hips are feeling super tired. They can also be used to elevate our feet. So take a moment to decide how you want to use your props. And then just start to bring your hands to the soles of your feet. And allow your whole body to round, cocoon, finding the shape of a seed. And it's a slow process. You might not arrive straight away. You might play with your props, see where you want to go. But I like to use the term sweet spot to find that place where you start to feel something. And as each of us have completely unique bodies, there's not a specific target area, as to say. We're working a lot here with the inside of our legs, but for you this might be a bigger sensation on the outer side of your hips. So allow yourself to just really come into that feeling of sensation. And we'll stay for about 2 more minutes. And some days we might want the sensation of being really still. That might be what most benefits us. However, on other days, it might feel more supportive to allow yourself to be in some very yin-like movement, a swaying of your head, a pulsing of your spine up and down. See if you can release your jaw a little bit more. Imagine all the parts of your face begin to melt and soften. And that cleansing breath bathes your brain, bathes the back of your throat, all the way down through your body. See, as if when we come into this last minute, maybe there can start to be a little bit more softening, a little bit more surrendering to earth. And with tiny movements, we start to unravel. See what wants to happen. And you find your spine lengthened. You might begin to draw your knees together, hug, hold, massage. Yin is a very subtle practice. Small, tiny parts of our body we're working with. Notice all the little ligaments and tendons that form together to give you your hips and your legs, and just sense them, feel them, sense the release. And you can start to find your way into hands and knees. And we're going to roll our sitting bones back towards our feet. And we're just going to take a moment to find a stretch through our ankles. So we begin to lift our knees just a tiny bit. This can be really tender. Maybe it's not a place we're used to moving with. So be patient. If you need to come back down to earth for a moment, then do. And just find a little lift. Take some long, deep breaths all the way down through your body into the tops of your feet. And very slowly release your legs. Bring your hands forward and give some movement, offer some movement to your feet and your legs. Being curious about any sensations. And then we're going to start to roll our body down onto the ground and come into a Sphinx pose. And Sphinx is a place where we place our forearms ahead of our shoulders. Allow our belly to soften to the ground. And there's a couple of options as always. If you have a block or a book, feel free to place it just about the line of your eyebrow, and you can rest the edge of the block here. Or the other option is to allow your chest to be really open in this asana. And I like to tuck under my toes and lengthen my legs. Give them a little shake, a little wiggle, and then rest the length of my legs as wide as the mat. And if we notice that this feels a lot for our lumbar, our lower back, you're welcome to start to walk your hands a little bit further forward. Again, maybe using the block to rest that heavy head. And keep pressing your forearms towards the ground. Notice that subtle opening in the back of your shoulders. Almost this pulling away of tension. Maybe allow yourself to drop into that wateriness of your body. As your breath drips and floods and flows. And even when we're still and quiet, everything inside that's moving. We'll take a last few breaths. You're welcome to stay just as you are. Or if you like, you can find a seal pose where we turn our fingers out and lengthen through our arms. If this causes you any discomfort in your lower back, like a burning pain, then you can come back to Sphinx. Otherwise, we'll take the last 5 or 6 breaths here. Resting your head, the back of your neck. And then eventually, softly, find the ground and see what wants to happen. You can make a little pillow. You can open legs and arms and give them a swirl, a sway. Let your whole body soften to the ground. Hmm. 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 And in this sacred pause, you're the observer, the listener. Maybe hands come onto the body and you hold and hug and offer some comfort, any places of tenderness that feel fragile. What would it feel like to really allow the whole of your experience to be here? And then we'll start to find a shoelace pose. So coming back onto your sitting bones, we're going to bring our right leg on top of our left. And there might be lots of space here between your knees, so feel free to grab a blanket, a cushion, a block, and allow this kind of padding, supporting sensation. If this is a lot, and it can be, then you're welcome to find this pose lying down. So crossing your legs, exactly the same, but you're allowing your whole back to come onto the floor, giving your weight to gravity. I'm going to stay here in the seated version. And you might bring a cushion or a bolster and start to find your sweet spot. Maybe placing something so that you can rest your belly, rest your head. Allow hands to find the earth. Let it be textural, sensual for your hands. Maybe palms come open and you feel the air, the space touching your skin. Come back to this little seed. Allow your head to rest. You hold your head all day. Let it soften from side to side. And if it's not for you today to fold and go into a deeper bend here, then you're welcome to stay seated. Maybe bringing hands onto your feet, giving them a little squeeze. And notice how each little part of you interconnects. When I open my jaw and release, I sense my hips drop, root down to the ground. When I open and close my hands, I can sense my shoulders move. Allow yourself to be so curious to your inner world. Allow your breaths to fill your body. And we'll be here for about 10 more breaths. You might allow your knees to lift slightly and then a lowering back down. Keep bringing yourself back here. And when you're ready, it's tiny movements. Maybe there's a tenderness. Let yourself come out of the shape slowly and see where your body's calling you to go. Maybe it's extending your legs, finding little twists, circling your body, finding a little bit of free movement. And again, sounding is always welcome. I find there's so much that we can release just by allowing a sound, a hum, something to come through our mouth. Imagine releasing all those words that you've not yet said or you don't know how to say. Let them fall through your lips. And eventually we're going to bring ourselves to the other side. So this time our left leg is under and our right leg is on top. And remember, you always have the option to do this with your back on the ground. Exactly the same shape, but you're just resting with your back touching the floor. And again, notice what's here. If there's a lot of space and you want to support yourself, bring something here to rest your knees. Make sure both your sitting bones are nestled into the ground. If you feel a lot of openness in this shape, you can start to walk your feet a little bit further away from you. And again, you can choose whether you want to cocoon and round your body or whether you want to stay seated with your spine long, chest open. That breath pouring in through the crown of your head and bathing your body. Maybe there's even a color of your breath today. Snowy white. And sometimes we can be looking for this equalness on both sides of our body, but it's very rare to find. We often tend to have one side of our body that feels a bit tighter. So see if instead of forcing your body to come into exactly the same shape as the other side, you can allow your body to express and be in the form that he or she or they want to take. Last 10 breaths. With tiny, tiny, tiny movements, start to unravel your legs. Maybe they stretch or roll from side to side. Maybe sense what's going back, what's moving through your legs, washing of water, of fluid, of breath, of blood returning to all your joints. And take your time in this pause for rebound. Finding that free movement again. Maybe you come back to your knees, your hands and knees, or you stretch back into a downward dog. And we'll eventually all find our way to our feet in an Uttanasana shape, or a forward fold. And you can spread your feet. Give yourself lots of space. Let your belly fall on your thighs and let your head go. Maybe hands come to the back of your neck or they support your skull. We'll just take a few moments in what we call ragdoll, where we hold opposite elbows and we give them a nice little forward and back. And you can spiral your shoulders. And then let them go and give your arms and legs a good shake. And we'll start to turn our toes out to come into a malasana, or a yogi squat. And if this place is quite intense, which it can be, feel free to bring a block or a cushion again and place it under your sitting bones so that you can rest your sitting bones down. Or you're welcome to keep them just lifted above the ground. Bring the elbows in between your thighs. Your palms can join together. And this is a place that I really enjoy little bits of movement. relaxing of the head, a rocking, a lullaby of hips and pelvis. You might even like to open your arms and enjoy a little kind of pushing into the inside of your legs. And a lot of our shapes today have kind of embodied that seed, that element of water, that beginning again, and that place where everything began. We come from water, and even when we're babies, our bones, before they harden, they're liquid-like. We really are those fluid, watery beings. So that's starting again for you. Is there something? We're constantly renewing ourselves. Maybe as we take these last few breaths in your melasana seed, you can envision and imagine what wants to start. Maybe they're just tiny thoughts, imaginations below the surface in the dark. Allow yourself to be with them, to dream a little bit. And then eventually release the shape. Again, be kind and curious about any tenderness. Hands, warm hands can come onto your body. Offer yourself a little gentle touch. And then eventually we're going to soften our back onto the ground. Arms and legs can come into space. Give everything a little shake. A little bit of buoyancy through your legs. Take some full breaths through your mouth, even soften, rest your tongue. And then you're going to start to cross your right foot on top of your left, and then carefully drip your legs down to the left side of your mat. And your arms are going to extend over your head, they'll interlace. And you start to make this new moon, or this crescent moon shape. Or maybe it looks more like a banana. You curve your body, and your hips stay on the ground. So you can breathe down this whole left and right side of your body. May soften your eyes. Allow the bones of your body to drop further into the ground. Your hands can either just rest and hold each other, or you might interlace them and really start to extend them. And then start to slowly guide yourself back. Arms and legs can roll and shake. And then we'll start to find the other side. So our left foot comes on top of our right, and you start to draw the legs to the right side of your body. And your arms follow. And again, it's either a resting of your hands on top of each other, or you might start to lengthen them a bit more. Your new moon shape. Your breath full heavy. And your watery body meets earth. Last few breaths. Maybe through your mouth. And then bring yourself back. Maybe hugging the knees towards you. And taking this next minute or two to explore anything else. Maybe just allowing yourself to starfish or twist. Maybe it's just a really big hug of your whole body. This refuge that you can find and tap into. And we'll start to guide ourselves into Shavasana, our final rest. And this is where, if you do have props again, bring them. Imagine you're making yourself a little nest, maybe something beneath your head. It's also really lovely to have something behind the back of your knees to allow your whole lower back to rest. Maybe you find a blanket to wrap around yourself. Again, anything that kind of draws comfort and support. Then feel free to go and make yourself your nest. Sometimes it can also feel nice to keep your feet planted and the knees touch. But Allow each limb of your body to find its own way into the sacred rest, this Shavasana. Roll of your head from side to side. A yawn, a sigh. And there's absolutely nothing to do here. There's nothing to hold on to. There's nowhere to go, to get to. It's just an allowing of your body to rest. And rest as a place of power. Rest as a place of being able to renew, to start again. Rest as a refuge, as a sanctuary. And I'm going to leave you now. My invitation is that you spend as long as you can, as long as you need, in this place of rest. Sending you so much love.